Yeah, but you know, okay. There's a lot of energy in this room to lasso. Welcome, Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown. It's been an interesting week. I was up in Dallas at the regional conference, which was really more of a retreat all week. And the whole theme was about just rejuvenation, just kind of recharging everything. So it wasn't very, you know, workshop-y. It was more of a doing, you know, meditations and stuff. And we had this one guy who was, and I had never seen that. I was telling Rosemary that when you do the meditation, he had this thing. You sit on when you chair like this with your hands closed, and just to get started with the breathing, he said, close your fists and then open them. You go 15 times, and then you relax. And you do it one more time, then you relax. And so then you start the whole meditating process. So I said, interesting way to, but he, you know, he kind of knew what he was talking about, so it was really interesting. And then we did something, I was going to talk about it later, but I can mention, something I've never seen before, a black stone ceremony. This lady that used to be on the regional board developed it, and she's going to put it on the website, and hope it's about forgiveness. And so you pick up 2 black stones, and then you got one in each hand, and one of them's for you, and all the forgiving you need to do to yourself and all that stuff. And the other one's about whatever it is that might be in your life, you know, revolving other people that you might need forgiveness for. And it was a real nice little ceremony. I'll mention it again a little bit in the talk. But anyway, so it was an interesting week, and I feel kind of energetic today, particularly for some reason. I know, as if I don't have enough energy already. Anyway, we are so glad that you have joined us this morning, and I want to welcome everybody who is online. And I told you last week, I think it was last week, that my Canadian friend Jeannie, who used to come down to the valley where I was before, she stopped coming because they reached a certain age where the insurance is way too high to come down here anymore, even for a few months. But, you know, she asked me about if we were online. I told her, yeah, and she said, and so she actually emailed me afterwards, hey, I was watching, and thanks for the shout out. So shout out, Jeannie, if you're watching. Anyway, oh, she is? Good for you, Jeannie. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We offer a unique approach to spirituality. We are love-centered and all-inclusive. We embrace an open heart and an open mind. We are spiritual, not religious. We are a blending of Christianity with Eastern philosophy and science and transcendentalism and the power of the mind through affirmative prayer. We offer teachings that provide for practical tools because we all need, that's why we're here today, to rejuvenate, just like we did all week in Dallas. Every Sunday we come here to rejuvenate, and we do so by affirming together, by praying together, by singing together, by laughing together, by learning together. So the whole process is just a step in just getting you a little more energized in the right direction. We have no creed, we have no dogma, but we have 5 principles that guide our philosophy. Our fundamental belief is in oneness, that we are all at the very core level one and connected. And we know this to be true now. It's not just the mystics. You know, science is now catching up with the mystics and saying, indeed, quantum physics is telling us that it is true. Everything is everywhere all the time. Have you heard? I've said that before. Everything is everywhere all the time. That includes you. So like you have this giant cable TV in your head, and it's just a matter of what channel are you tuned into? That's what it comes down to, because all the channels are there, whichever one you want. So and our fundamental practice is being in the present moment. That guy who did the workshop said, tomorrow's gone. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow is none of my business. And today I have all that I need. Be here right now for the next hour. Just focus yourself and just participate. And we're going to have a really good time. And you're going to feel the shift in the energy by the time we get out of here. I promise you'll feel the shift. So here, I want to start by having you join me with our mission statement. We are a thriving spiritual community inspiring and empowering individual and global transformation as exemplified by the life and the teachings of Jesus. Once again, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown, a spiritual breath of fresh air. We have our announcements. Behave.
I hope I don't have problems with this. Can you hear me? Yes. Good morning again. Thank you. If you are here for the first time, we would love to give you a special welcome. If you are comfortable, please raise your hand or stand so that we can recognize you and say hi. Anyone? Yes. Hi there. Would you like to give us your name? And
Yeah, my name is Jeff Pond, and I've been to this church way in the past. It's been a while.
oh, well, welcome back, Jeff. Well, thank you. Oh, one more? Hello, Jennifer. Welcome. Thank you for being here with us today. There are welcome packages on the table in the foyer. Please take one, and it would be great if you would fill out the form that is in it and either leave it with us or send it to us. We hope you feel at home here and that you might consider this being your spiritual home. The prayer chaplains invite you to take part in a daily vigil of prayer with the intention of healing and harmony.
And fixing the microphone.
Yes, for USC. We'll hold this intention every morning from 8 to 8:15, and we have added a time for all of you late getter-uppers from noon until noon 15. We'll hold this intention please join us because we are pointing all of our energy to know that we are together in love and that love prevails. Let's Get Metaphysical returns this Wednesday, October the 16th, at Legacy Hill Parks. Weather permitting, 9:30 a.m., bring your own lawn chair. This is really exciting, I think. We will be showing the Disney Pixar movie Coco here in the Mesquite Room next Saturday, October the 19th at 3 o'clock p.m. The movie is about the culture story of the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, and how people continue to exist as long as they are remembered by someone in the real world. It also explores the importance of developing self-dignity while honoring family legacy. Let's make this a fun USG family movie and bring your own snacks. The book club will be meeting this Tuesday, October the 22nd at 10 a.m. We'll meet on Tuesday, not this Tuesday, at 10 a.m. in the conference room that's across from the farmer's market. Plan to stay for lunch afterwards across the street at the city market. We will be discussing the Love Without End study guide. It's available on Amazon. The Fund and Fellowship have the following upcoming event schedule. Fourth Sunday Family Out will be at Camp Brightside on October the 27th. I didn't know where that was until yesterday, and I went out that way. But it's on Williams Drive. Almost, it's past. I believe it's past Ronald Reagan Freeway. Yeah, yeah. Because I didn't know where it was and couldn't place it, but now I can, and I can tell you. We are still calling for volunteers. Please consider helping out during Sunday service. Thank you. Please be sure to check out our e-newsletter sent every Friday morning. And I didn't know this, we post the Daily Word on Facebook and Instagram every morning, as well as the daily prayer break at noon.
Yay, Carrie, thank you. One final announcement, update. As you know, we don't have this room for the 27th or the 3rd. And the 27th is the Dia de los Muertos that we've now started doing every year. And so I tried to get the library, couldn't get that. I couldn't get anything. So the only thing I've got is the pavilion at Cowan. At least it has side windows in case, you know. But so we're going to be at the pavilion at Cowan on the 27th. And we'll do that. And I told you last week that our daughter, see, I'm getting better, who is doing a doctoral on music therapy, and she's really engaged in this Hispanic culture and all this stuff that's been going on. And she's going to do a talk about the Dia de los Muertos. So she'll do that for us that day. She'll be in town. So that's fun. Did somebody say something? Oh, yes, that's right. Remember how that works, right? We set up a big altar, which they call an ofrenda. And then bring your pictures of people who, you know, your loved ones who have passed. And so we do the whole ceremony and set up a big old table. It's a lot of fun. So I'd like to continue with our Let's Get Metaphysical, with our Laughter is the Best Medicine. And I'm running out of jokes, so somebody have to send me. I found a couple of little ones, short ones here. So let me share those. As a kid, I used to watch The Wizard of Oz and wonder how someone could talk if they didn't have a brain. Then I got social media. Now I understand. Anyone else reach that age where you gain weight if you breathe? Some call it multitasking. I call it doing something else, but I try to remember what I was doing in the first place. I've expanded my skills. I can now forget what I'm doing while I'm actually doing it. Yep. They say we can have gatherings up to 8 people without issues. I don't even know 8 people without issues. Oh, this is for Therese. Vegetarians can live up to 9 years longer than meat eaters. 9 horrible, worthless, baconless years. Enough of that. Let's rise and begin our service.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Don't you give up.
Don't you give up.
Keep moving on.
Keep moving on.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Lift up your eyes.
Lift up your eyes.
Don't you despair.
Don't you despair.
Look up ahead.
Look up ahead.
The path is there.
The path is there.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. I know you're scared.
I know you're scared.
And I'm scared too.
And I'm scared too.
Spirit is here.
Spirit is here.
And guiding you.
And guiding you.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
This used to be easy. Okay, now that all that business is over, I'm going to ring the crystal bowl. I'm going to ring the crystal bowl, and you can think of this as, just imagine the little white church in the village, and they ring the bells to call the worshipers, the faithful, to worship on Sunday. And this is kind of our take on that. As I ring the bowl and the vibrations move through the room, just allow them to call you within, to shift from the outer to the inner, and to be open in mind and heart for the messages and the music that you will hear today and that will touch you and inspire you. This part I can do.
Thank you, Tommy. Today's daily word is belong. The affirmation is, as spiritual beings, we all belong in the heart of God. The inspiration for today's daily word comes from John 17:20-21. I ask not only on behalf of these, but also on behalf of those who will believe in me through their word, that they all may be one. A true sense of belonging is one of the best feelings in the world. It's knowing I am at home and fully accepted just as I am and valued for my own unique contributions. Today, I celebrate my belonging as a divine being, a child of God. No matter my station in life, my personal history, or my particular circumstances, I am a valued member of the human family. I extend this understanding to all others. I look beyond appearances and even my own preconceived notions to see my fellow divine beings. I honor their unique gifts just as I would want them to honor mine. We belong together. We belong to one another. We all belong in the family of God. Please read the affirmation with me twice. As spiritual beings, we belong in the heart of God. As spiritual beings, we all belong in the heart of God.
Good morning. Now's the time for us to light the candles of divine order. Mind, idea, expression. We do belong together, and we communicate together, and we connect together. And that's the glorious power of the mind. And we bring these beautiful ideas into this world and share with one another. And remember, that is the way that we express ourselves, through words and song and just touching one another in one form or another, and remembering we're co-creators with God. So now join me in our statement of being, our statement of intention. The Spirit opens our minds, opens our hearts, touches us all deeply with love, and sends us out as agents of love, agents of peace, agents of justice. Amen. And usually at this time, if we have children, we have Sunday school. So we're going to use that energy today for the children that we are in our hearts. And we'll have some more music for that.
We told you at the beginning it's going to be a lot of energy today. I have our mansions here right now 'cause I believe, I believe, I believe. Oh, I have my mansions here right now. I believe, oh, I believe just what God says. I'll do just what God says because I believe, I believe, I believe. I'll do just what God says just 'cause I believe. Oh, I believe just what God says. By faith I believe it, by faith I receive it, by faith I can have it, by faith I can share it. I believe just what God says. Break it down. We'll do all things in Christ, oh yeah. I believe, I believe, I believe. We'll do all things in life with Christ, oh I believe, oh I believe just what God says. By faith I will know it, by faith I will show it, by faith I will bear it, and now I declare it. I believe just what God says. He'll give me all I need. Oh, I believe, I believe. working it out for me right now. I believe, I believe, I believe. God's working it out with me right now. I believe, oh, I believe just what God said. He'll do
What he says, he'll do just what he says.
He'll do.
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 He'll do just what he says.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
She'll do it.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
She'll do it.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
She'll do it.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
She'll do it.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
She'll do it.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
She'll do it.
She'll do it. Yes, she'll do it.
Have my mansions here right now. I believe. I believe. I believe. Oh, I have my mansions here right now. I believe. Oh, I believe just what God says. I believe just what God says. Thank you. Brand new one for you.
Telling you, I'm feeling the life in here.
So let's share now our statement of being and vision statements. There is only one presence and one power active in my and in my life, God the good omnipotence. Centered in God, we co-create a world of love, peace, and abundance. And some more music.
In this house of love, we come together with spirit in our hearts. In this house of love, we are connected. We are perfect in God's light, and we shine. Yes, we shine as bright as the stars above. Yes, we shine. Yes, we shine. We shine in this house of love. In this house of love, we are family, brothers and sisters in this world. In this house of love, we seek the wisdom that tells us the truth we are sure. And we shine, yes we shine, as bright as the stars above. We shine, yes we shine. We shine in this house of love.
Now's the time for our community prayers. This is the time that we become silent and still and focus in our hearts and minds and bodies and souls. Those challenges perhaps in the week and those blessings of this week for ourselves and others. So take just a few brief minutes to quietly whisper those situations or those people and those blessings in your heart right now. let's bring forth those issues to light and love. And as remembering, like, how things turned out well, let's remember our time of prayer by singing an ancient prayer, a prayer handed down through the ages that affirms God's realm manifest in earth as it is in heaven, our Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
Well, I'm glad our energy level is where it is today, because we are blessed. That's the title of my talk today. We are blessed. There's always a beautiful story about how we are blessed. And recently, a friend of mine blessed me with the opportunity to go on my first cruise. It's the first vacation I've had in 3 years. And it was a dream come true. I got to swim with the dolphins. However, I need you to look closely at this picture. The water, however, the water in the lagoon was deeper than I anticipated. And you know how things in life turn out that way sometimes too. I had to hang on to other people in the pool. And they were so gracious and just so wonderful. And then the narrator, the naturalist, had me stand on top of his feet, which you can't see in the picture. But if you look carefully, he's holding on to the back of my life jacket. So I had help all along the way. Yeah, it was fantastic. And I had to thank all the people that helped me, but some of them had kids in their arms, and they understood. This is Grandma's short legs. But you never know what people go through to prepare and manage to be able to have a little fun. And we learn from those experiences. And some of the best times I had were being pampered and cared for and fed delicious food, no cooking, and just embracing a time of the year when there's usually storms on the seas and the waters were calm. So I was so blessed in so many ways. And there are ways in our lives, too, that we really need to be thankful for our blessings. So let's take time to quietly go within again and remember how we are not only blessed, but we bless other people. And when it's time to bring your attention back, we'll have some music.
Love lift us up where we belong, where the eagles cry on a mountain high. Love lift us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear winds blow.
Thank you, Dan. You had not done that one. Thank you, Ellen. Caught me off guard. Love lift us up where we belong. Okay, that's the end of my talk. I'm done. Gosh, yeah. Integral Christianity, the three faces or phases of God. The last couple of weeks I have been talking about the book Integral Christianity, The Spirit's Call to Evolve by Reverend Paul Smith. And in case you missed part of it, of the 2 weeks or whatever, integral theory is the creation of a gentleman named Ken Wilber, who the book describes as the most famous contemporary, he's still alive, philosopher and mystic you have never heard of. And in a nutshell, integral theory is about bringing together established truths, which are called paradigms, large ideas, and to create an even larger picture. And that's called a meta-paradigm, big picture. And in this case, the topic, and this is for any topic, but in this case, it's about Christianity. He begins by describing something he calls a spiritual, just getting everybody up to date, a spiritual positioning system where we get to kind of look at that and say, get an idea, where are we, generally speaking, in our spiritual unfolding, both personally, as a society, and even as a group, our group. And then he begins with talking about stages of developmental unfolding. And this is kind of brought in from the theory called spiral dynamics, and where we're all evolving. And we see it in our humanness. When we were children, we were in that stage of infancy, and then we become toddlers, we enter another stage, and so forth. Adolescence, another stage, the rebellious stage, and then we get into the where we fit in things stage. So these stages are called tribal, warrior, traditional, modern, postmodern, and what he calls integral and beyond. He has another reference he uses. He calls it fantasy, fighting, fitting in, flourishing, fulfilling, and frontier. And interesting that the book says 80%, I told you last time, of the entire world's population is at the traditional or earlier level stage. That means 80% of the planet in mentality is in the Dark Ages almost, medieval times, which is kind of a strange thing. And I said that kind of explains why a lot of the stuff happens on the planet, because it's an early planet developmentally. We're still not that far along, but we're working on that. And then he turns to part 2 where he talks about states. And states he defines as modes of consciousness. And he places a real big emphasis on what he calls spirit zones. And spirit zones are a spiritual place where it allows for spontaneous spiritual expression and growth. And this spiritual zone idea is what I'm trying to promote at Sunday service, so that you're open to the flow of the we live in an energetic universe. Think of it as an ocean, being in an ocean completely inundated with this life force energy. And this life force energy wants to express itself through you in the highest way possible. And the only thing you got to do is get out of the way. That's it. So that's what we try to do here when we affirm together and pray together and all the things that we do. So really, it's about being lifted up to that place where we belong, in a state of joy, pure joy. And that is what Sunday morning for me is all about. Coming here, opening up the gates to spirit so that it can come out and play. Because we keep spirit locked up way too much. We really do. And here I encourage you to let it out. Let it play. Let it be one with everybody else. And I got to admit, I'm starting to see a little more energy around here. That song certainly helped. Just go with the flow, And this week I was able to spend a lot of time in a spirit zone at the retreat of Unity South Central Region, which, I'm a board member of. And the speaker had a real emphasis on this going with the flow and letting this energy flow through you. And I got to thinking, in the past, I've actually been criticized for being too much of a spirit of the law guy, just letting spirit kind of take wherever it's going to do. But now I was reminded during this week that, no, that's what I'm supposed to do as a spiritual leader. I'm supposed to lead that way, to open yourself up and allow spirit to take place. And so I remembered the words of the Master when he said, "Who among you by worrying can add a single hour to your life?" And what about planning? We talked about that a lot. Says, when was the last time a plan really came through for you? Really, seriously, think back. 10-year plan, how'd that go? Things change because the energy is changing all the time. And of this, Scripture says, look at the birds in the air. They do not sow or reap or stow away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Aren't you much more important? And besides that, how many of you even know that you'll even be here tomorrow in the first place to make plans for? He talked a lot about water, too. The guy's name is Daniel Nahmod. And that song that Dan does now once in a while, when I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, that song, that's Daniel Nahmod. And I met him before. And when I met him last time, I bought this album he had just finished called Water. And he went to, he just needed to get away. He went to Moab, Utah, where all the arches are and all this stuff. And he spent like a month out there, just no phones, no nothing, just out there. And he saw, and he just got this revelation of the mastery You know, the whole Grand Canyon at one time he was telling us, covered with miles and miles of ocean. That's how it got carved out. There's no other way. And he said, the water goes about, and we had water video even, and the water goes about doing its thing. The nature of water is to give. It's a life-giving force. And it gives because it's its nature to give. It doesn't ask for anything in return. No gratitude, nothing. It just does its thing. And he says, this water carved out this entire canyon over millions and millions of years. It didn't plan for it. It didn't do anything. It just chipped away day after day after day. And he reminds us that that is what we are supposed to do. Chip away at what we do in the present moment all the time. That's why I had that quote. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow is none of my business. And today I have all that I need. So that's what I want to do here on Sunday mornings. But in order to do that, you must participate. And that's why we have the service set up in that participatory type of a format. There's a reason for it. And then he brings up the story of all things, the book, and I read it years ago, and I don't remember until when I reread it again, about Martha and Mary. And just a reminder, Martha represents that mode of consciousness in us that is focused on the everyday little things. And we get caught up in these little things all the time to the point that sometimes we get lost because in the little things. And it's not at all tuned to spirit. It is very much entrenched in our humanness. In the story, Martha is whining, complaining, being the victim, and she represents, again, just being in that mentality. I guess if you use the developmental system of the book, you might say that Martha is in the early stages of her unfolding. And then there's the Mary consciousness. The Mary consciousness is tuned into the spiritual awakening because she is enchanted with the presence of Jesus because he represents to her that spiritual connection. And so now she's at the stage where she wants to make that spiritual connection. And that's what she do it. She represents a trust in that divine flow. And so for her, you might say she's in a further stage of development. And then he says, then there's the Jesus mode of consciousness. And Jesus not only is connected to spirit, he identifies with it, and he lives from that place, from that awareness of spirit is what Jesus lives. And he shows a little diagram, which is kind of interesting. And the whole idea is clear, that we're progressively moving from one state of consciousness into another, a higher one. And this is natural for us to do that. So he sums it up. We're the Martha is in the doing stage, the Mary is in the seeking stage, and the Jesus is in the being stage. We just are at that point. Then he brings up today's lessons, the three, he calls it faces of God. And the first time I did a lesson a long time ago, I called it faces. But then when I did it again, I said, no, it's not face. I don't want to, you know, I'm a big proponent of discarding all the old anthropomorphic language because I think it holds us down, me personally. So I changed it to phases. I think it's more appropriate. And so for those of us who come from a Catholic background, we're very familiar with the idea of God as three phases, very much so. But the ones who strictly, they're like, for example, and not to pick on anybody, but the Protestants, they have what's called sola scriptura. If it's not in the Bible, then we don't want to have nothing to do with it. And the Trinity is not in the Bible. It was something that the founding fathers of the Catholic Church came up with. And St. Augustine, he struggled with this idea of a three-part thing. He wrote a treatise on the Trinity, 15 books long, that took him 10 years to write. St. Augustine. And he finally turned within and he said, he came to the realization that our very soul, our very mind is a triadic structure. And he came up with one simple example. He said, when you make a simple statement, I love myself, he says, that's three parts. I is the lover. Myself is the beloved, and love is the action itself. It's three parts, but it's only one mind, one person saying this. And so that's how he came to the idea. And of course, we as Catholics know Father, Son, Holy Spirit. In unity, we say mind, idea, expression, same idea. Three elements, three phases, but only one thing. Psychologically, we know that, right? We have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and a superconscious mind. This is not rocket science. So let's see how Reverend Smith takes this tripartite nature and brings it into this integral theory thing. First of all, you have to understand, there's three ways of understanding God in the first place, generally speaking. The first is basic theism, in which God is in the sky and separate from us. And the second one is pantheism. And this is an Eastern Hindu reference of God being all of creation. And then there's a third one, the one Unity uses, called panentheism. And we've talked about that. Now, in panentheism, God is beyond everything and a part of it. God is within us, and we are within God. And that's what Paul said, in it, I don't say in him, in it, we live and move and have our being. And I told you about that one phrase that I came across one time when people say, oh, so you think you're God? And well, and I saw this and I've shared it with you before. I said, no. I'm not saying I am all of God, but I am saying that God is all of me. And that's different. So in panentheism, God is everything and then some. So to understand that, you have to understand two words, transcendent and immanent. Are you familiar with those words? Transcendent means the impersonal, beyond all understanding. And that's the God that even the Bible talks about, is the one who sends his rain and his sun to the just and the unjust. That is the impersonal nature of God, the transcendent. And then there's the immanent, the personal one. And of this, our metaphysics book says, the human mind has a unique ability to identify with the absolute and at the same time participate in the changing processes of the relative. So we're having that dance between the transcendent and the immanent all the time. So let's see how he does it and means by three phases of God. He sums it up this way. Jesus talked about God, with God, and as God. I said, that's very interesting. And he says, then he has the questions, is your God big enough? Is your God close enough? Is your God you enough? And he says, don't leave any of these phases out. He calls this the expanded Trinity. And he says, I propose that we come together in a more integral space and affirm all three divine highlights as true but partial of a whole. So these three phases then are it, the third person, thou, and I. It, thou, and I. And he says of it, the infinite phase of God. God as third person is the phase of God I speak about, the great mystery, the great I am. And then there's thou, the intimate phase of God. God as second person, as this God that I speak to. And Jesus spoke to what he called Abba, Father. Abba in the language means like daddy. It's a warm, loving feeling of that. And then there's the I, the inner face of God. God as a first person, as the image of God as me. And he said we receive something different and very practical from each phase, And now I want to bring up something that potentially is a touchy subject for unity. Rituals and ritualistic practices in service. Because I think sometimes, and I think we're kind of coming around, you just kind of go full circle on something sometimes. And I think we're coming around to understand that in our effort to try to get rid of the old stuff, sometimes we threw away maybe too much of it. And at retreat, as I said earlier, we did something I had never done before, never even heard of, that black stone ceremony. And it was very much a ritual. But you know, as we unfold through these processes, we go through stages. And so there's a part of us that still wants to be tribal, and that's why we come together. So there's parts of things that still have value, and we can't get rid of all of them all the time. So I'll leave you with this last little ritual that he came up. As I said, he started a Southern Baptist preacher, that guy, Reverend Smith, and he ended up 50 years later as an integral church. That is a huge transformation, big. And so, with this last thing, he says, and I'm not proposing that we do this, but he brings together the three phases of God with the idea of the sign of the cross. And here's what he does. He says they begin with their arms wide open. He said, infinite God, in whom I live and move and have my being. And then he puts a namaste pose, and he says, intimate God, you are always with me. And then he puts his hands across his heart like this, and he says, inner God, I am the light of the world. And so it is. Yeah, so it's just a little practice. And now I want you to hear something about letting go and letting God that we talked about last week.
I couldn't seem to fall asleep. There was so much on my mind, searching for that peace, the peace I could not find. So then I knelt down to pray, praying, help me please. Then God said, you don't have to cry, I'll supply all your needs. As I stop worrying how the story ends, I let go and I let God have his way. That's when things start happening, and I stop looking at back then. I let go and I let God have his way. There's so much going on. Sometimes I can't find my way, and oftentimes I struggle from day to day. I have to realize that it's not my battle. It's not my battle to fight. I have to know if I put it in God's hands, everything will be alright.
Soon as I stop worrying how the story ends, I let go and I let God have his way. That's when things start happening. I stop looking at back then. I let go and I let God have his way.
Let go and let God, let go and let God, let go and let God, let go and let God. My brother, let go, let God. My sister, let go and let God. When you feel that you can't handle it, just let God. Let God. Let go.
Let go.
And let God.
Let God.
looking at back then. Then I let go and I let God have. Soon as I trust God, soon as I give Him all that I have,
That's when
all
things
that I
start
know.
happening.
Yeah, I know that God.
Soon as I stop
will be there for you
worrying,
when you don't think you've got much left to hold.
that's when things start happening.
God, let God have its way.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, boy. So now comes the time in our service where we offer our tithes and our gifts so that we can continue to do our part in sending out this positive energy to this world and do our part changing the planetary consciousness. It's what we've come to do, my friends. And that's what we do. We chip away just like the water does on the Grand Canyon, just piece by piece by piece, and that's how we do it. So we take our tithes in our hands. Together we say, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I trust God.
Everything I see, everything I do is blessed by your hand, God. I give it back to you. Everything I give, every thought that's true, is magnified and kind. I give it back to you.
Join me in our offering dedication. We bless and dedicate these tithes and offerings an expression of divine love, and we release them to manifest that love in our community and in our world. We bless the children of the world, and we bless the entire world. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Final announcements. Ellen is our prayer chaplain today. She's back and all rested. Next Saturday, 3 o'clock, bring your popcorn, because I want popcorn. Yeah, go to the movie theater and pick some up. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. 3 o'clock, we're going to watch Coco, the movie, right here next door at 3 o'clock. Wednesday, Let's Get Metaphysical. We'll see you at the park at 9:30. And I guess that's all. So let's rise and end with our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family alive.
like you mean it. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I am light. I am love. I am power. I am presence. I am. Have a blessed, blessed week, and thank you.
The Good Life? I love this song. The lyrics are kind of, yeah.